I left my loyal husband the moment I got in shape and started turning heads, convinced I could do better, trading him in for what I thought was an upgrade. But now, after being used and discarded by men who only saw the surface, I see what I threw away. I tried to reach out to apologize, but he's blocked me everywhere. And honestly, I don't blame him. I'm 30 female, and I've made the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know if there's any coming back from it. I'm going to lay it all out here because I literally have nowhere else to turn. 5 years ago, I married Joseph, 32 male. We'd been dating since college, and he was everything I thought I wanted. Stable, kind, supportive. He wasn't conventionally attractive or particularly successful, but he was mine, and we built a life together. I was always the heavier one in our relationship, not huge, but definitely carrying an extra 40 pounds. Joseph never made me feel bad about it. He always said he loved me exactly as I was, but I never really believed him. There was always this voice in my head telling me that he settled for me, that he didn't actually find me attractive. 2 years into our marriage, I decided to make some changes. I started working out, changed my diet, got serious about my appearance. Within a year, I had completely transformed. I lost the weight, toned up, started dressing better, changed my hairstyle. For the first time in my life, I was turning heads. People who'd known me for years didn't recognize me at first. The attention was intoxicating. Joseph was supportive throughout the whole process. He helped me meal prep, joined me for workouts, complimented me constantly. But something shifted in me. The more attention I got from other people, the more I started to resent him. I started thinking, why am I with this average guy when I could have someone better? I started going out more without him. Happy hours with coworkers turned into late nights at clubs. I'd come home to find him asleep on the couch, waiting for me. Instead of feeling touched, I felt annoyed. Why was he so boring? Why didn't he go out and live? Then I met Gregory, 35 male, at a work event. He was everything Joseph wasn't. Tall, muscular, successful, confident to the point of arrogance. He pursued me aggressively, and I ate it up. We started texting, then meeting for coffee, then lunch. I told myself it was innocent, but deep down I knew what I was doing. The emotional affair turned physical 3 months later. I won't go into details, but I convinced myself that the sex with Gregory was better because he was more my level now. I started pulling away from Joseph completely. We stopped having sex. I picked fights over nothing. I was cruel in ways I never thought I could be, making comments about his appearance, his job, his hobbies. I wanted him to be the bad guy. I wanted him to give me a reason to leave. But he just kept trying harder. He planned date nights I'd bail on last minute. He started working out more. He applied for better jobs. He was changing himself for me, and instead of appreciating it, it just made me despise him more. Why couldn't he have done this before? Why did it take me changing to make him want to improve? 6 months ago, I finally told him I wanted a divorce. He was blindsided. He cried and asked what he'd done wrong. I told him we'd grown apart and that I needed to find myself. Classic BS. I didn't tell him about Gregory. Joseph moved out the next day. He didn't fight for the house or most of our stuff. He just wanted his books, records, and some family heirlooms. The divorce was finalized quickly because I pushed for it, and he didn't contest anything. 2 weeks later, I moved Gregory in. I posted about my new beginning on social media. I didn't explicitly mention Gregory, but the implication was clear from the photos. That's when Joseph blocked me on everything. His friends and family did too. It was like he disappeared from my life completely. I thought I'd be happy with Gregory. For a while, I was. The sex was passionate. We went out all the time. Everything felt exciting. But about 3 months in, things started to change. Gregory became controlling. He criticized what I ate, saying he didn't want me getting fat again. He checked my phone. He got angry if other men looked at me. When I confronted him, he told me I should be grateful someone like him was with someone like me, that I'd never find better. It hit me then. That Joseph had never once in our entire relationship made me feel less than. Not once. He loved me at my worst, supported me through my best, and I'd thrown it all away for someone who only valued me for how I looked. I tried calling Joseph, blocked. Emails, blocked. I went to his workplace, but he'd changed jobs. I reached out to his friends, but they either didn't respond or told me to F*** off. I even tried his parents, but his mother just said, "You broke him. Leave him alone to heal." Then she shut the door in my face. Now Gregory's moved out, good riddance, and I'm alone in the house Joseph and I bought together. I look at old pictures of us and wonder how I could have been so stupid. I had someone who loved me for me, not for my body or status. I know I don't deserve another chance. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I can't help hoping that somehow, someday, Joseph might be willing to at least talk to me again. I miss my best friend. I miss the man who loved me when I couldn't even love myself. Has anyone been in a similar situation? Is there any coming back from this level of betrayal? Edit. A lot of you are asking if Joseph knows about the affair. He doesn't, at least not from me. I never admitted to it, but given the timing of everything, me pushing for divorce and then immediately being with Gregory, I think he probably figured it out. Edit 2. Yes, I understand I'm the idiot here. I don't need more people telling me that. I know what I did. I'm not looking for absolution. I'm looking for advice on whether there's any chance of at least getting closure with him. Update. 5 months ago. First, thank you to everyone who commented on my original post, even the brutal ones. I needed to hear it all. So, an update. I finally managed to get in contact with Joseph, not directly, he's still blocking me everywhere, but through his cousin, Peter, who was always friendly to me. Peter didn't want to get involved, but after I begged him, he agreed to pass along a letter I wrote. In the letter, I apologized for everything. I admitted to the affair and took full responsibility. I explained how I'd been blinded by my own insecurities and newfound attention, but that wasn't an excuse. I told him I missed him and would do anything to make it right, but that I also understood if he never wanted to see me again. 2 weeks later, I got a response, not from Joseph directly, but from his lawyer. The letter was brief and formal. It stated that Joseph acknowledged receipt of my communication, but requested that I cease all contact with him, his family, and his friends. Any further attempts to contact him would be considered harassment. It also contained a check for half the value of our house, money I'd insisted he didn't need to take in the divorce. The note attached simply said, "I don't want anything from our life together." I broke down when I got that. It was so final, so cold, but also quintessentially Joseph, fair to a fault, even when dealing with someone who'd hurt him beyond measure. I've started therapy. My therapist says I need to focus on understanding why I self-destructed a healthy relationship and how to ensure I never do it again. She says closure isn't something Joseph owes me, it's something I need to find for myself. In practical terms, I'm selling the house. I can't live here anymore with all these memories. I'm looking for a new job too, preferably in a different city. I need a clean break from the person I became here. To those who asked about Gregory, yes, he tried to come back after he moved out. He showed up at my door with flowers, saying he'd forgive me for the fight that led to him leaving. I shut the door in his face. When he kept calling, I blocked him. Now I understand how it feels to want nothing to do with someone toxic. I still miss Joseph every day. I still have moments where I draft messages to him that I'll never send, but I'm trying to respect his wishes and give him the peace he deserves. He's rebuilding his life without me, and I need to let him do that. I know this isn't the happy ending some of you hoped for. It's not what I hoped for either. But it's what I deserve. Actions have consequences, and I'm living with mine. I'll try to update again if anything significant changes, but I don't expect it will. Thank you all again for your honesty. Update. 3 months ago. I didn't think I'd be posting again so soon, but something happened that I need to process, and this community has been surprisingly helpful, even with all the deserved criticism. I moved to a new city last month, nothing too far, about 2 hours from where Joseph and I lived. I found a smaller place, took a lateral move job-wise, and have been focusing on therapy and rebuilding myself from the ground up. I've been doing well, all things considered. Yesterday, I was at a coffee shop downtown, working on my laptop, when I looked up and saw Joseph. My heart stopped. He was at the counter ordering, his back to me. I'd know his posture, his way of standing with one hand in his pocket, anywhere. I froze. Part of me wanted to run over to him, and part wanted to hide. Before I could decide, he turned around, coffee in hand. He saw me immediately. There was a moment, maybe 2 seconds, but it felt like hours, where we just stared at each other. Then his face changed, not to anger like I expected, but to something worse. Nothing. Complete emotional blankness. Like I was a stranger he'd never met. He nodded once, the way you might acknowledge a passing acquaintance, and walked out of the shop. I sat there stunned. Then I realized this coffee shop was 3 blocks from the new tech company he'd been headhunted for right before our divorce, the one I'd made fun of him for being excited about because I didn't think it was prestigious enough. He must work nearby. This is his neighborhood. I'm the one who invaded his space again. I packed up my things and left. When I got home, I searched for apartments in a different part of the city. I found one and put in an application immediately. I can't do this to him. I can't keep appearing in his life like some ghost of mistakes past. But before I closed my laptop, I did something I've been avoiding for months. I looked him up on social media. My friend had mentioned Joseph had unblocked most people from his old life, though he rarely posted. His profile was minimal but public. He'd changed his profile picture from one of us together to a shot of him hiking on some mountain. He looked good, healthier somehow, more himself than he'd been in the final year of our marriage when I was tearing him down daily. The most recent post was from 2 weeks ago, a group photo from some tech conference. Joseph was in the middle, smiling, arm around a woman I didn't recognize. She wasn't conventionally beautiful, but she had this genuine warmth to her face. The caption tagged her as Dr. Raina Wilson, a speaker at the conference. I clicked on her profile. She's a computer scientist at the local university. Smart as hell, accomplished, kind-looking in her posts. With Joseph, they're not overtly romantic, but there's an ease between them that's unmistakable. They look like friends who genuinely enjoy each other's company. The worst part? My first reaction wasn't happiness for him. It was jealousy. Ugly, burning jealousy. What right did I have to feel that? I'm the one who threw him away. I'm the one who decided he wasn't good enough. I shut my laptop and cried for hours. Not just for losing Joseph, but for the person I discovered I still am. Still selfish, still thinking I have some claim to him and his happiness. My therapist says these realizations, painful as they are progress. That recognizing these toxic patterns is the first step to changing them. I hope she's right. I'm moving again next week, somewhere far from his coffee shop, his job, his new life. It's the least I can do for him now. To answer questions from last time, no, I haven't tried to contact him again. No, I don't plan to. Yes, I'm still in therapy. No, I'm not dating anyone. I'm not ready, and I doubt I will be for a long time. I'll update again if there's anything worth sharing, though I hope, for Joseph's sake, there isn't. Update. 2 months ago. I'm back with another update. I've moved to the opposite side of the city from where I last saw Joseph. I found a small studio apartment that's helping me reset my life. It's nothing like the home we shared, or even my place with Gregory. It's just mine. No memories, no ghosts. Work is going surprisingly well. I've thrown myself into it. Not to distract myself, okay, maybe partly that, but because I'm rediscovering that I actually enjoy what I do when I'm not obsessed with status and appearances. My boss has noticed the change, and I've been given more responsibility. It feels good to be valued for my competence rather than how I look. Speaking of appearances, I've maintained my physical health, but with a completely different mindset. I work out because it makes me feel good, not to attract attention. I dress nicely for myself, not for others' approval. It's liberating to realize I can look good without tying my entire self-worth to it. Therapy continues to be challenging but necessary. My therapist has helped me understand that what I did to Joseph wasn't just about being attracted to Gregory. It was about power. When I was heavier, I felt Joseph had all the power because I thought I was lucky someone wanted me. When I transformed physically, I felt I had the power for the first time, and I wielded it like a weapon against the person who had never actually made me feel powerless in the first place. It was all in my head. My insecurities, my projections. Joseph was a victim of my internal battles. The reason I'm updating today is because I received a forwarded email from Peter, Joseph's cousin. Apparently, Joseph is officially putting our old house on the market. We'd been renting it out since I moved. The email was from the realtor, copying both Joseph and me about the listing details. It was sent to my old email, which I rarely check now, and Peter thought I should know. At the bottom of the forwarded email was a brief note from Joseph, the first direct communication I've had from him since the divorce. I've decided to sell the house. The realtor will handle everything. I don't want to drag this out, so I'll accept any reasonable offer. Whatever profit there is after the mortgage, we'll split according to the divorce agreement. This is the last piece of business between us. After this, there's nothing left to connect us. I hope you find peace. Joseph. Just seeing my name written by him broke something open in me. It was so formal, so final, but he still wished me peace. That's so Joseph. Even after everything, he doesn't wish me ill. I replied to the realtor, not copying Joseph, that I'd sign whatever was needed and that I trusted their judgment on the sale. I didn't want to make this harder for him by trying to engage directly. Peter messaged me later, saying Joseph is doing well. He's officially dating Dr. Wilson now. They've known each other for almost a year, apparently. They met at a coding workshop shortly after our divorce. Peter said Joseph was in a dark place for months after we split, but Raina helped him find himself again. I asked Peter if Joseph ever talks about me. He hesitated before answering, not anymore. Those 2 words told me everything. There was a time when he did talk about me, probably processing the pain, the betrayal. But now, I'm part of his past, a closed chapter. It hurts, but it's also strangely freeing. I've been clinging to the fantasy that somehow, someday, we might at least reach a place of forgiveness. But that's not what Joseph needs. He needs to move on entirely, and he's doing that. Maybe that's what I need too. To those who followed my story and offered advice, even the harsh kind, thank you. I'm not fixed by any means. I still have bad days where I spiral into self-loathing or, worse, self-justification. But they're becoming less frequent. I'm learning to sit with the discomfort of being the villain in someone else's story and in my own. Update. 1 month ago. It's been a month since my last update. A lot has changed, yet in other ways, I feel like I'm just now starting to stand still. The house sold quickly, above asking price. I signed the papers without issue and received my portion of the proceeds. I've put most of it into savings. Material things don't hold the same appeal they once did. My therapy sessions have intensified. We've been digging into my childhood and family dynamics, how growing up with an emotionally unavailable father and a mother obsessed with appearances shaped my view of relationships. It's painful work uncovering these patterns, but necessary. I've also joined a support group for people recovering from toxic relationship behaviors. It's humbling to sit in a room with others who've damaged relationships they valued and take responsibility for it. No excuses, no deflections, just accountability and the difficult work of change. 2 weeks ago, something unexpected happened. I received an email from Joseph. My hand shook so badly I could barely click to open it. It was brief. Vanessa, I've been thinking about our last interaction at the coffee shop. It wasn't my finest moment, and I've carried that with me. I'm reaching out because I think we both might benefit from a conversation. To be clear, this isn't about reconciliation. That door is closed. But there are things I need to say to you face to face and perhaps things you need to say to me. If you're willing, I suggest meeting at the Neutral Ground Cafe next Saturday at 2 p.m. It's public enough to be comfortable but quiet enough to talk. Let me know. Joseph. I read it 20 times, analyzed every word, consulted my therapist. She said it was ultimately my decision, but that closure conversations can be healing if both parties are in the right mindset. She cautioned me to manage my expectations. This wasn't a romantic overture. I knew that Joseph, the man I knew, was incapable of cruelty. Of course, he wouldn't want our last interaction to be that cold moment in the coffee shop. He was offering us both a better ending. I replied simply that I would be there. The week leading up to Saturday was the longest of my life. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I kept rehearsing what I would say, how I would apologize again without overwhelming him with my remorse or making my feelings his responsibility. Saturday came. I dressed simply, jeans, a sweater, minimal makeup. I arrived 15 minutes early but waited outside until exactly 2 p.m. I didn't want to seem overeager. He was already there when I walked in, sitting at a corner table with 2 coffees. He'd remembered how I take mine. That small detail nearly broke me before I even sat down. "Thank you for coming," he said when I approached. His voice was steady, neutral. I sat across from him, hands wrapped around my coffee to stop them from shaking. "Thank you for suggesting it." There was an awkward silence. He looked good. Better than at the coffee shop months ago. He'd grown his beard out a bit, got a different haircut. He seemed comfortable in his skin in a way he hadn't toward the end of our marriage. "How have you been?" he asked. Honestly. Honestly? Working on myself. Therapy, support groups, trying to understand why I did what I did and how to be better. I paused. "How about you?" "I'm good, actually. Work is challenging but fulfilling." "I'm in a good place." I nodded. "I heard you're seeing someone. I'm happy for you." He studied me for a moment, perhaps gauging my sincerity. "Thank you. She's good for me." Another silence fell. Then he took a deep breath. "I asked you here because I needed to tell you something face to face. I've forgiven you, Vanessa." I wasn't prepared for that. Tears welled immediately. "Why? How can you possibly forgive me after what I did?" "I didn't do it for you," he said quietly. "I did it for me." Carrying that anger, that betrayal, it was poisoning everything good in my life. Forgiving you doesn't mean what you did was okay. It means I'm not letting it control me anymore. I wiped my eyes. "I don't deserve your forgiveness." "Probably not," he said with unexpected frankness. "But forgiveness isn't about what people deserve. It's about choosing to release the pain." He took a sip of his coffee before continuing. "For months after you left, I tortured myself trying to figure out what I did wrong, why I wasn't enough. I lost myself completely. Then one day, I realized it was never about me being enough. I could have been perfect and you still would have done what you did because it came from something broken in you, not something missing in me." His words stung with their accuracy. "You're right. It was all me. My insecurities, my selfishness." "I'm not saying this to hurt you," he clarified. I'm saying it because I spent too long blaming myself, and I don't want you spending years blaming yourself either. What happened happened. We can't change it. We can only learn from it. I gathered my courage. Joseph, I am so deeply sorry for everything I put you through. The affair, the cruelty, the way I tried to make you feel small when all you ever did was support me. You deserve so much better. He nodded. I know you're sorry. I believe that. And for what it's worth, I hope you find peace. I hope you heal whatever it is inside you that made you believe you weren't worthy of being loved as you were. We talked for another hour, not about getting back together. That was never on the table, but about our time together. The good and the bad. The real, unvarnished truth of our relationship. For the first time, we saw each other clearly, without the distortions of my insecurities or his desire to make everything work. As we were getting ready to leave, I asked the question that had been haunting me. Did you ever really love me, or were you just settling because you thought you couldn't do better? He looked surprised. Is that what you thought, Vanessa? I loved you completely. I never once thought I was settling. I thought I was the luckiest man alive that you chose me. The irony of that hit me like a physical blow. All this time, I'd been the one who thought I was settling, who couldn't see the value of what I had. We said goodbye on the sidewalk outside. No hug, no touching, just two people who once shared everything, now respectful strangers. Take care of yourself, Vanessa, he said. You too, Joseph. And thank you for this. For being you. He gave me one last smile, not the adoring one I once took for granted, but a gentle, distant one, and walked away. I watched until he disappeared around the corner, feeling a complex mix of grief and release. It wasn't the closure I'd imagined all those months ago. It was something harder, but ultimately more valuable. The truth. I didn't destroy our relationship because Joseph wasn't enough. I destroyed it because I couldn't believe I was enough to be loved the way he loved me. It's a painful realization, but one I needed to face. Now I can finally start to truly heal, not to win him back, but to become someone worthy of the kind of love I threw away. Final update. Today. It's been 6 months since my original post. I never expected to be writing again, but something happened yesterday that feels like the final page of this chapter of my life, and I wanted to share it with the community that witnessed my journey. I've continued with therapy and my support group. I've been promoted at work. I've made new friends, real ones, not the surface-level party people I surrounded myself with during the worst of my behavior. I've even gone on a few dates, although nothing serious. I'm still figuring out who I am and what I want. Yesterday was Joseph's birthday. I debated whether to reach out. After our coffee shop meeting, we hadn't spoken again. I decided a simple text would be appropriate, acknowledging the day without presuming too much. I wrote, "Happy birthday, Joseph. I hope it's a wonderful day." A few hours later, he replied, "Thank you, Vanessa." It is. Simple, polite, closed. Then last night, I received an email notification, a wedding website. Joseph and Reina are engaged. The site was beautiful, filled with photos of them together, looking ridiculously happy. The wedding is set for next spring. My first reaction surprised me, genuine happiness for him. Not the forced kind I tried to convince myself of before, but actual joy that he found someone who treasures him as he deserves. My second reaction was more complicated, a bittersweet recognition that in an alternate universe, where I had been a better person, that could have been us, planning our future together. I didn't respond to the invitation. I suspect it was sent automatically to everyone in his contact list, and I doubt he actually expects or wants me there. Instead, I sent a simple email. Joseph, I received your wedding announcement. I wanted to say congratulations to you both. Reina seems like an amazing woman, and you deserve all the happiness in the world. I won't be attending the wedding, as I think that would be uncomfortable for everyone, but I am genuinely happy for you. Thank you for everything you taught me about love, even if I learned the lessons too late. Vanessa. This morning, I received a reply. Vanessa, thank you for your kind words and understanding about the wedding. You're right that it's probably best you don't attend, but I appreciate your graciousness. I hope you know that despite everything, I do wish you well in your life. We can't change the past, but we can choose how we move forward. Be kind to yourself. Joseph, those last 3 words broke me open. Be kind to yourself. After everything I put him through, he still has enough compassion to wish that for me. I've spent the day reflecting on the journey from who I was to who I am now. I'm not fixed. I don't think any of us ever fully are. But I'm aware now. I see my patterns, my triggers, my capacity for both love and destruction. The truth is, I wouldn't have learned any of this if Joseph had taken me back. As painful as these months have been, they forced me to face myself, without the comfort of being forgiven too easily or too soon. I destroyed something precious. I hurt someone who loved me completely. I can't undo that. But I can honor the lessons by never being that person again. Not to prove anything to Joseph, but because I now understand the value of authentic love and integrity. To those who might be in the position I was in a year ago, feeling like you've upgraded yourself and deserve better than your loyal partner, please learn from my mistakes. The grass isn't greener. The external validation isn't worth it. The temporary thrill of being wanted by someone new pales in comparison to being truly known and loved by someone who's seen all of you. And to those I hurt along the way with my callousness and selfishness, especially Joseph, I'm sorry. Thank you for the gift of your forgiveness, even though I didn't deserve it. This will be my final update. It's time to close this chapter completely and focus on writing a better story for myself. One where I value the right things and am worthy of the love I receive. Thank you all for witnessing my journey, for your harsh truths and occasional kindness. It mattered more than you know.